Fear often comes from our past experiences, and we feel like if we do X, the same thing's going to happen again. All right, so that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, is what can we do when we experience fear in the things that we want to achieve, in moving forward, in taking the action. We will all experience that fear at some point in time in our lives. My name is Su Patel, and I am all about helping people with raising their level of self-worth and creating abundance in love, joy, and money. If you want to connect with me, please do connect with me on my Instagram channel, where I will be sharing more tips and tricks throughout the week to keep you going and raising your self-worth. Fear shows up in so many different ways. We could be fearful of taking the action to grow our business. We could be fearful of showing up on social medias. We could be fearful. What is it that we're actually afraid of? We're afraid of success. We're afraid of failure. We're afraid of looking bad. We're afraid of people laughing at us. We're afraid of making the same mistakes again. We're afraid of getting hurt again. We're afraid of, but what is the common denominator here in all of these things is that we're fearful of something happening to us that we've once experienced and we don't want to experience again, right? That's the thing that we're actually fearful of, is experience the horrible feeling or the horrible sensations that we had when something happened to us in the past. But also I want you to get as well is fear is not real. It's all made up. It's made up from our thoughts of what we think might happen. Is actually not real. There's, like they say that, the acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. Now, depending on where you are in terms of your own mindset and your own level of awareness, we could all be looking at the same thing and experiencing the same thing, but we will experience it in different ways. So something that you might be fearful of, I might not be, or something I might be fearful of, you might not be, because you don't have a past experience of that thing. So that's another way of really looking at what, why fear is all made up. It's all made up, but it's very different for each one of us. Based on our past experiences, our beliefs, our limitations, and what we think about a certain thing. But it's all based from our past. Let me just give an example, right? Is in 2016, I just separated from my husband in the February. Took myself and my daughter away. We moved out. That was in the February of 2016. The following month, I got made redundant from my job. And then the month after, I had to sell my house. So in 3 months, I went from being a successful HR business partner in an organization, a corporate organization, having a family network, earning good money, and living in my own home, to being a single mom, having no income, and living in a rented home for the first time in my life, and it was, I was at rock bottom, and I just remember constantly telling myself that I'm worthless, I'm not good enough, like nothing's working out for me. I went through depression, everything that I could have been fearful of literally did happen, all right? And I remember when I was trying to grow my business after that, because I was like, the one thing that I know is I'm not ever going to go back to working in corporate organization again. I don't want to put my financial future in the hands of a corporate again, so I'm going to run my own business. But I was so scared of showing up, of something going wrong, of being humiliated, or feeling like it wasn't good enough. I just constantly felt like I wasn't good enough. And why did I feel that? It was because I went from being in a structure in my workplace to being completely on my own and having no backup and no support. So I was scared of taking any action, and being made to feel like it wasn't going to be good enough. All right. But where did that emotion of not being good enough, or that fear of not being good enough, or where did that come from? It came from a past of being at school and being excluded from my friends and, not getting questions right. And, when teacher was asking me questions and then being laughed at in school. And I didn't want to experience those same emotions over and over again, all right? So I didn't take the action and I didn't do what I needed to do to move forward in my business. But then actually working alongside coaches, working alongside mentors, I started to surround myself with the right people, and again, sometimes when you're doing something on your own can be very, very difficult. And that's why you've got to enlist the support and create a structure around you of the people who can support you. But as well as that, there are some things that you can do to really help yourself overcome some of your fears. Number one is look at where in the past did you experience the emotion that you don't want to experience now. All right, because once you discover that, you can then start eliminating, really unpacking the stories that you created about that situation. Number two, then you can start creating a new affirmation. We're constantly telling ourselves that if I do this, then that won't work. If I do this, then that this is going to go wrong. But actually creating an affirmation that I can do this, it will work. I'm making it work. I'm creating this situation and then living into the identity. Now that takes time. So, you just want to give yourself some time to start assuming the identity of the person that you want to create yourself to be. Okay, now if you want to know a little bit more about identity and affirmations, click on the videos here where I go into a bit more depth about how you can go about creating those. But like I said, fear is false evidence appearing real, all right? It's not true. And you can easily replace that with evidence. If it's false evidence appearing real and you're creating that, you can also create a new false evidence appearing real, okay? So there's a negative false evidence appearing real, and then you can create something that's a positive false evidence appearing real as well. You can create either or, right? You can create something to work and you can create something to not work. It's your choice, okay? But the important thing is that you do unpack some of that previous story that you created about the thing that happened to you in the past that you're continuously living into. So let me give you an example. So I had a breakdown in my relationship. So I created that, I'm not going to go into a relationship again. Relationships are hard work. And so I'm not ever going to, I show up a certain way when it comes to relationships. All right. But it's not true. Not all relationships go like that. Not all men are that way. Not all, experiences will be the same. Now, if I let go of those stories, I can start showing up a different way in the area of relationship. I can create that, relationships are amazing. They're very exciting. They, create lots of joy. They create companionship. They create support. They create community. And then when I create that, that's how relationships are, I will start showing up in a different way. And you can do the same in your business, in your health, in your relationships, in any area of your life. Okay, but you've got to do the unpacking work first. Once you've unpacked, what happened in your past and the stories you made them mean, and you can start really creating a new story about what happened, you will then start to show up in a different way. And the way that you can start showing up in a different way is by doing those affirmations and really creating a new identity of how you want to now be. All right, so if you want to create yourself to be a successful business owner, first of all, have you assumed the identity and the being of that new business owner that you want to be, that successful business owner that you want to be? What do you walk like? What do you talk like? How do you want to be? Like, what are you saying? Who are you saying it with? So overcoming fears is very, very simple to do. I know it probably feels like it isn't, right? But it really is. And it's just about you applying some of the techniques that I'm going to share with you now. So number one is make sure you go back and unpack, like, where did this experience happen to you in the past, and the story that you made about that. Just start unpacking it and really looking for yourself, like, what is the new story that you can create about that thing. So it does take a little bit of deep work. Not many of us want to go back to some of those negative emotions or those scenarios, right? But you do need to go back and unpack that. The next thing that you can do is to start creating, like, if you want to become a business owner, or you want to become a successful business owner, or someone who's got these healthy goals, what health goals, or in a relationship, whatever those goals are, is to start assuming the identity of that person that you want to become. All right. And if you want to find out a little bit more about how to go about doing that, please do click on this identity video over here, which will give you a little bit more in depth around how you can go about assuming the identity of the person that you want to create. And the more you practice being that and taking those actions, those fears will die away. Because remember, fear is false evidence appearing real. So firstly, fear stands for false evidence appearing real, right? So if it's false evidence appearing real, you can create a negative false evidence appearing real, or you can create a positive false evidence appearing real. Like you could choose, what you want to make anything mean. Okay, like it basically means it's a creation from you. It's not even real. It's something that you made up. Okay, now you made that up because something that happened to you in the past impacted how you felt, right? So, you created a negative emotion, a negative experience, or something that you don't want to experience again. Now, I really invite you to look at what that was and the story that you created around that. And remember, you created a story around it. Whatever you created at the time, again, that was not real either. Yes, the thing that happened was the truth, and that happened, but the story that you created about that was made up. And you can make up a new story about that. Okay, so it's really important that you do unpack the past. Many of us don't want to go there and experience what happened and, go through those emotions again. But that is where the gold really is, to overcome any fear. Okay, so do that work. And then remember, what I said around, really creating the identity of the person that you want to become. And if you want to hear a little bit more about how to do that, then click on the video here where I talk a little bit more about assuming the identity of the person that you want to live into and how you want to become that. And then finally, make sure you do your affirmations every single day of the thing that it is that you actually want in your life. With fear is that we're often worrying about the thing that hasn't even happened yet, and we're giving that focus rather than focusing on the thing that we actually want in our lives. So we spend so much time being fearful of what we don't want and what we don't want to experience, rather than using our energy and our thoughts to create what we do want. Okay, so spend some more time and energy creating your goals, visualizing what you do want, what will it feel like, what is it that you want to create, and spend more time and just really catch yourself when you're not in that space and you're in that space, and then bring yourself back to creating your future continuously. Okay, so there will be a time where you're spending less time in fear and worry and anxiety, and more time in the creation of what it is that you want, in the joy, in the excitement of this amazing future that you're going to have very, very soon. I hope you got something from what I shared with you today. Remember, the gold is in the application of knowledge. Okay, I'd love for you to connect with me on Instagram, where I share some more tips and tricks on everything to do with self-worth and raising your level of vibration to create more abundance in love, money, and joy in your life. And I really look forward to seeing you on the next video.